Welcome to part 2 of the Ufologist's Guide to the Galaxy, and today we'll look at those Roswell weather balloon photos again. Were they doctored? We also ask, why do aliens have hieroglyphs on the sides of their craft? And we'll take another look at the Calvine UFO photo. We count down our top 3 sci-fi movie picks, give you some cool apps, and some great YouTube creators to check out. Our ufology legend on this show is Bill Hamilton, UFO crash retrieval specialist. We revisit the Lonnie Zamora incident with a few new observations. And for our final feature, we ask, what exactly are orbs?
I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Lonnie Zamora incident. It's probably one of the best documented UFO sightings in US history that was witnessed by City of Socorro police officer Lonnie Zamora. You don't dispute a police officer, especially one as highly respected as Lonnie Zamora. This is one of my favorite UFO cases, as it has everything a ufologist craves for. It was late afternoon on April 24, 1964, near Socorro, New Mexico, where Lonnie got out of his police cruiser on a rough and rocky dirt road to be one of the first people to see a tic-tac shaped UFO. He called it egg-shaped at the time, as the candy tic-tac didn't really exist until 1969, 5 years later. Lonnie claimed he saw 2 people wearing white overalls standing beside a shiny object that later rose into the air, accompanied by a roaring blue and orange flame. After non-stop ridicule, Lonnie never ever changed his story or never profited from his experience. Actually, he became so tired of the subject that he eventually avoided both ufologists and the Air Force. He quit his police job and took a job managing a gas station. The US Air Force's Project Blue Book listed the case as unknown. Conventional explanations of Zamora's claims include a lunar lander test by White Sands Missile Range, which was close, and then a hoax by New Mexico Tech students. Yeah, right. There's always some smart aleck who refuses to accept the bleeding obvious, even after it was later reported and documented as having been witnessed in flight by 5 tourists traveling through Socorro. Lonnie died on November 2nd, 2009 in Socorro from a heart attack. He was 76 years old. R.I.P. Lonnie Zamora. Sid has his own observations about the incident. Sid.
Whistleblowers have now disclosed that the Tic-Tac UFOs are man-made right here on Earth. They have been perfected quite a lot since April 1964, when police officer Lonnie Zamora saw the first one at Socorro, New Mexico. Why do I think that the one that Zamora saw was man-made? Well, it had company markings on the side. Then when it took off, Zamora heard a rocket propulsion system that also burnt the ground it landed on. There was no sign of radiation where it landed, and the inhabitants wore full-length white coveralls. 95% of UFO sightings around that time had none of those attributes, and it was the first white egg-shaped tic-tac-named craft to ever be identified. Press and government cited the object Zamora saw as either a mirage of the star canopus, or the testing of a lunar landing device, or he was the victim of a prank. All those explanations are just plain BS.
Okay, here comes our top 3 sci-fi movie picks for today's show. And at number 3 we have The Fifth Element. This one is from 1997. It stars Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich and Gary Oldman, who plays a great Elon Musk type villain. The Fifth Element is set in the 23rd century, and it follows Bruce Willis as a former Special Forces major turned cab driver who becomes the central figure in the quest to find the Fifth Element, a supreme being necessary to save the Earth from an impending cosmic threat. Lilo, played by Jovovich, she's the Fifth Element incarnate, teams up with Corbin, played by Willis, to gather 4 mystical stones that are crucial to stopping the great evil. The film's director, Luc Besson, wrote the original story when he was just 16 years old. For the unique visual style and costumes, he hired comic artist Jean Mobius Girard, whose books inspired parts of the film for production design, and the costumes were designed by renowned French fashion designer Jean-Paul Gaultier. The Fifth Element is our number 3 pick. At number 2 we have Ghost in a Shell from 2017. It stars Scarlett Johansson as a cyber-enhanced soldier called Mira Killian. and is set in the near future where humans can enhance their bodies with cybernetic improvements such as extra vision, strength, and intelligence, so the line between humans and robots is blurring. It's based on the Japanese manga of the same name. Killian begins to question her own identity and existence as she uncovers a conspiracy that aims to manipulate and control people's minds, and she is chosen as the test subject after her body is damaged beyond repair. Ghost in a Shell is our number 2 pick. And our number 1 pick on today's show is Artificial Intelligence AI from 2001. It stars Haley Joel Osment as David and Jude Law as Gigolo Joe. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's set in the future where advanced robots known as mechas coexist with humans. The story centers on David, a highly advanced robotic boy programmed to love, who is adopted by a human family. When David is abandoned, he embarks on a quest to become a real boy to earn his mother's love. The film was initially developed by Stanley Kubrick, who handed over the project to Steven Spielberg before his death. The movie explores complex themes of humanity, love, and the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, and asks what makes us human. The most misunderstood thing about this movie is that the tall, slender beings at the end of the movie are not aliens. They are called mechas, who are robots of future Earth, who had evolved themselves from the robots in the earlier part of the film, over 2,000 years from the point where David was created. Their particular group was studying human life, as humans were long extinct. David was the only known surviving mecha that had contact with human life. The film is a wonderful exploration of the philosophy and ethics of creating artificial intelligence. It's quite brilliant, and I strongly recommend you watch it again. Artificial Intelligence AI is our number 1 sci-fi movie pick for today's show. Okay, Roswell's been done and dusted. However, Sid, our ufology bot, came up with a topic for discussion entitled, Are the Roswell Photos Doctored? Now, I hadn't seen that anywhere in my 30 years of being a ufology nut, so I thought, let's take a look. Sid, explain yourself.
There's an urban myth, an urban legend, that says when Jesse Marcel was ordered to be the patsy in those photos of him holding up parts of a weather balloon and was told to say that is what he found, he crossed his fingers while holding up the material. People cross their fingers while lying as a superstitious belief to ward off bad luck or consequences of their dishonesty.
Okay, let's check this out. But before we take a look at his fingers, let's take a look at his face. That is the face of someone who knows he's being used for a patsy. Definitely. Now don't forget, back in the 40s, the whole hierarchy of the military is funded upon obedience. If you were told to do something, you would do it without question. Now, we downloaded the original photographs from the UTA libraries that currently holds the original photographs and negatives from the incident as part of the large Fort Worth Star Telegram collection that chronicles the history of Fort Worth and West Texas. The photographs are available to download for free, link below, for anyone to share or adapt the photographs, provided the use is for non-commercial purposes and you provide attribution, which we've done down below. Now, perhaps they weren't doctored in a nefarious way, and over time they just got copied and copied until the fingers all look strange, but I don't think so. Nah. If we look at the original, he has a normal finger, the color photograph that is, but it still doesn't look right. It looks cut out and it just hasn't got any shadows or depth. It looks like a really bad attempt at photoshopping or whatever they had back in the 40s. What do you think? And when we compare the photograph on the left, which is the one you see everywhere, but nobody comments on the size of his finger, compared to what they claim is the original on the right, which still looks dodgy. But strangely, these two photographs are originals from the same collection, so how come the fingers are obviously different in each photograph, and no one has questioned that? So what do you think? Have they been doctored? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's time of the show for our Ufology Legend, and today we feature the late and great Bill Hamilton. William F. Hamilton III is one of the most famous and longest-serving American UFO researchers. He has degrees in psychology, physics, and IT, and spent 5 years working in the United States Air Force Security Service. Bill developed an interest in UFOs and the paranormal at an early age, having had his own first personal UFO experience back in the 50s. His personal experience and the widespread public interest in such phenomena during the mid-20th century, Bill became recognized for his extensive research and writings on extraterrestrial phenomena. Hamilton led Project Aquarius, established in 1953, which explored themes like UFO crashes, sightings and abductions, underground bases, and advanced extraterrestrial technologies. The project was rumored to be part of the notorious MJ-12 group, an alleged top-secret committee of scientists, military leaders, and government officials created by President Harry S. Truman to investigate and manage UFO activities such as crashed saucer recoveries, living extraterrestrials, and communication attempts with alien civilizations. Part of that physical evidence of alien communication included Ebe-1, the surviving extraterrestrial from the Roswell crash. Of course, the US government has consistently denied the existence of the project, and researchers regard the claims about Project Aquarius as unfounded. Yeah, right. However, Bill will tell you differently. Just watch some of his video interviews on this channel. Since 1980, he's been investigating flying saucer crash retrievals, underground facilities, reverse engineering of alien technology, and the development of alien biotechnology. He had a great job, that's for sure. Apart from guest speaking at UFO conventions and numerous TV appearances, Art Bell's Dream Man being just one, Bill has authored several books on UFO conspiracies and cover-ups, secret technologies, extraterrestrial contact, and abduction experiences. Bill was born in 1936 and unfortunately passed away in 2020 after a prolonged battle with cancer. R.I.P. Bill Hamilton, a true ufology legend.
So you're a ufologist, are you? So let's take a look at some mind-bogglingly cool apps you really should have on your phone.
And our first choice on today's show is Midjourney. It's still accessible through the Discord app, but they've recently announced that their website is now available to everyone. They're on version 6.1 with 6.2 on the way, with a lot more functions to play with. Every other day we hear of a new image generator coming out that someone boringly dubs a Midjourney killer. But Midjourney continues to be bulletproof, with stunning images and an easy-to-use interface. Midjourney still rules. Next up we have CapCut. Kudos to the guys that developed CapCut, who have probably made video editing accessible to all in an easy-to-use interface that can give you stunning results. Apart from a host of cool, ready-made templates you can use for free, they've just released their image generator that still needs a little work at the moment, and they also have free avatars that can speak and translate lots of different languages. CapCut Pro is reasonably priced on an annual plan and is a lot of fun, and is well worth the price too. And finally, our third pick on the show today is VideoLeap. On the last show we featured PhotoLeap, and the same company also does VideoLeap. VideoLeap gives you access to heaps of cool video effects, filters, transitions, and more. And it's a big favorite of TikTok and Instagram users. I love the quality of this product, and with so many brilliant tailor-made effects to choose from, VideoLeap is a lot of fun.
The Ufologist's Guide to the Galaxy is not affiliated in any way with the apps we feature on our show. We just love them.
Have you ever wondered why there are so many eyewitness accounts of people seeing alien hieroglyphs on the sides of alien craft? If you're an alien, what possible significance is there to have hieroglyphs on the side of your spacecraft or time machine for that matter? Think about it. Does it help the craft fly perhaps? Probably not. Here are a few possible theories. The hieroglyphs could have a cultural significance, providing insight into the alien culture, history, or beliefs. Or perhaps a technological function. The hieroglyphs might have a functional role, such as being part of the spacecraft's control systems or navigation. They could be labels or instructions, or even a form of coding that operates the craft. But my favorite theory is a form of communication, either between the aliens themselves or as a message to other species, including humans. Because I'm thinking of the famous Rendlesham Forest incident when Sergeant Penniston was standing next to an alien craft facing the pictorial glyphs, and he put his hand on the etched symbols of the craft, which he said felt like sandpaper compared to the rest of the black smooth molded surface. Then the craft started to turn a brilliant white color. He could neither see nor hear. And still, with his hand on the symbols, the craft downloaded a lot of information to him in binary code. We'll deep dive that in our next show. Another case of hieroglyphs on alien craft was the Kecksburg acorn-shaped UFO from 1965. That craft had alien hieroglyphs around the bottom of it, according to some local kids who say they actually saw it. And according to ufology folklore, the German Bell time machine, Die Glock, also had alien hieroglyphs around the bottom of it too. Now what was the chances of that, eh? Coincidence? Perhaps not. Edgar has some more light-hearted theories, and some of them make sense. Edgar.
Hieroglyphs on alien craft? Why do we always assume the symbols have some sort of mystical or magical power? Think out of the box for just a minute. Perhaps the hieroglyphs are the name of the company that built the alien spacecraft, just like Honda or Suzuki put their names on their cars and motorbikes. Or perhaps the strange markings say, "Do not step," similar to what we have printed on plane wings. Or maybe it's a hidden door that simply says, "Push." You may laugh, but you never know. Let me add to that. Back in 1964, Lonnie Zamora saw an egg-shaped craft with markings on the side. It may have been alien for this way up, because if you have an egg-shaped aircraft, or a tic-tac-shaped craft for that matter, you need to know where the top and the bottom of the craft is, right? How about the Roswell UFO metal beam with the hieroglyphs on it? It could read, "Mind your head." I mean, you never know. It is a crossbeam after all. Just look at the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. No one understood them in the beginning, and all they turned out to be was a wall diary. So, why do you think aliens put hieroglyphs on the sides of their craft? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Back in 1990, two hikers in Calvine, Scotland handed this photo to the Daily Record newspaper. But instead of publishing that photograph, the newspaper handed the photo over to the British Ministry of Defence. Ufologist Nick Pope worked as a civil servant for the British Ministry of Defence from 1985 to 2006. From 1991 to 1994, he worked in Secretariat for Air Staff, more commonly known as the UFO Desk, where his duties included investigating reports of UFO sightings. Pope was responsible, among other duties, for investigating UFO phenomena to determine if they had any defense significance. He may not have ever mentioned this case in his programs or lectures because either he was told to shut up or the aircraft does not pose any defense threat because it's not a UFO, because you humans made it. Has anyone even asked Nick Pope about this? Just saying.
On each show we look at some brilliant YouTube creators we follow that are definitely worth checking out. First up is Theoretically Media. The channel's producer Tim has just reached 100,000 subscribers, and deservedly so. Tim brings you the latest AI news in a very easy to understand way, and also gives you some brilliant tutorials on the latest AI video and sound platforms. Tim also does product comparisons and shows you some awesome filmmaking tips too. Kudos to Tim and Theoretically Media. Next up we have Future Tech Pilot. Nolan is in charge here, and Midjourney is Nolan's expertise. I must say, I've learned so much from Nolan when I first started using Midjourney. Nolan not only gives you great ideas on how to prompt, but goes into great detail about the various tips and tricks when it comes to variations on a prompt you have within Midjourney. If you're a beginner or a regular user of Midjourney, Nolan and his Future Tech Pilot channel is definitely worth checking out. Next up comes Caleb and Shelby with their excellent Curious Refuge channel. Their channel covers all aspects of creative AI filmmaking, and they really are the go-to channel for budding AI filmmakers, offering courses, tutorials, and AI filmmaking competitions. Caleb also tests out the various new AI programs on release, trying them out and comparing them with other established models to see how they fare. Curious Refuge is always a very all-round entertaining channel, and they have a great website you can check out too. And finally, we have the CapCut King, Trevor Jones. It helps when you've edited for big Hollywood movie companies, and Trevor shares his wide knowledge of filmmaking tips and throughout CapCut and explains it in such a simple and clever way. Clever Trevor, that's a song, isn't it? I must say, Trevor's channel helped me navigate my way through CapCut with his knowledge and wit. I just love his sense of humor too. Check out his channel, Trevor Jones, and Trevor also offers film editing courses for all, whether you're a beginner or a regular user on CapCut. You'll find the links of all 4 of the channels I mentioned in the descripts below. Thank you guys for your knowledge and professionalism. You guys rock.
You're watching the infamous Ufologist's Guide to the Galaxy.
What are the flying orbs exactly? Drones, small spaceships, a living ball of plasma energy perhaps? Logically, I would choose a drone. However, lately I've been thinking about the possibility of them being a very small spacecraft. Because why do we assume that everything follows the scale of us human beings? It's been said that alien spaceships bend both space and time when they travel. So if that's the case, then they could certainly make their spacecraft any size they like, couldn't they? I would love to know your thoughts on that.
All points of view in the show is purely the views of the channel based on our own research. There's enough information on the show today for you to make up your own mind. We do make mistakes, but as we always say, do your own homework on the subject. Thanks for joining us on the show, and until next time, take care, and we love you all.